what's going on? Happy whatever day you're watching this. For me, it's Saturday. Also, shout out to this water bottle right here. I've been loving it. It's been my favorite water bottle I've ever had. Also, I'm going backwards hat. Always go backwards hat. Before we get into anything today, leave a like on this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'm talking about my most carried knives in my collection. And before I talk about anything here, let me know down in the comments what you guys' most carried knives are. Really interested to see that. So let's get into it. And so the first knife I want to talk about is probably a staple in anybody's knife collection, and that is this guy, the QSP Penguin. This one right now goes for $38 on Amazon. I love this knife. You have D2 steel, shredded carbon fiber handle. Blade length is just over 3 inches. I want to say it's like I have specs pulled up here. 3.06 inch blade. Fantastic knife. It's still sharp. This is still the factory edge, and I can still use this no problem. So $38 for D2 steel, shredded carbon fiber. Can't beat it. Next up is one that I don't think I can find anymore. I tried finding it, and there's no trace of this on the website I bought it from. And that would be this one. This is the Boker Kalashnikov, but in a pretty special color. This is the Boba Fett finish from Smoky Mountain Knife Works. They came out with this at least a year and a half ago, and I've used the crap out of this. I bought 2 of them because they released the coated blade, so the black blade, and a satin blade, and I got both of them because you saw my last video, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I had to have this one because of the Boba Fett colors on it. The problem now is I can't find a single trace of this on Smoky Mountain Knife Works website. So, definitely a discontinued one. It was 50 bucks when I bought it. This one is Osate steel on the blade, aluminum handles, and you get that nice contouring that all the Boker Kalashnikovs do. I've heard some people complain about the way that the grooves are, but my hand fits perfectly on this knife. You do have a single position deep carry pocket clip, and you have that very classic, if you know anything about the Kalashnikovs, you know that this has that nice bacon clip on it, but awesome knife. And this thing snaps. Carried those for a long time for work, and that's kind of how I gauge whether a knife is a good knife, is if I can carry it at work and it holds up, then that's a good knife for me. On to the next one, which is this guy. This is my Sencut, I believe it's Watuga is how it's pronounced. It's a very large 3.5 inch blade. It's this nice hollow ground Warncliffe style blade. Button lock. And the blade on this is D2 steel with a green micarta canvas micarta scales. And I love this knife. If it'll show here, right here is all of the coating that I have started to wear off of the blade right here. I use this knife for probably, why is it so dark? Probably about 3 weeks straight, this knife didn't leave my pocket.
Want to cut it open with your knife? Show its proof?
Sure. Gotta love when your wife walks over and asks you to pop a tag while you're conveniently talking about knives. This is $50 on Amazon, $50 on Amazon. This is the only button lock I have, so I have nothing else to compare it to, but I feel like it's pretty good. one that I've carried a lot lately. A while ago on my channel, I talked about this specific company and how much that they impressed me with their knives. And this one is from Kizer. This is the Kaiser Doman. Insanely snappy action. You have this reverse tonto blade, jimping that runs almost halfway through the blade, which I am not going to complain about. So jimping extends all the way up to the full extension of my thumb right here. This time you have black micarta handle, and this one is probably the smoothest knife out of my entire collection. Look at this. I don't know if you can get any better than that. I mean, as soon as you break through that detent, yeah, I tried to fail that, but if you're just going, you have to try and make this knife fail for it not to just fly open. And because it's running on bearings, it closes without a problem. There is nothing stopping this blade from closing. But what I like the most about this knife in particular is it does have micarta handles, or scales, but the scales are shadow boxed by the steel liners. So the liners come out just above the scales. And normally you'll have inset or flush liners, like how you have here. I don't even know if you're going to be able to see that. But the scale and the liner are flushed together. There's no overlap. But with the Doman, you have the scale here, and just behind that you have the steel liners just peeking above the scales. I don't know why, but I like it a lot. And this particular knife, I absolutely love. And the thing I love the most about it is, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but the screws are recessed into the pocket clip, which is fantastic to see. I love that. So the screws aren't snagging on your pocket when you go to slide it in.
What? Bro, what are you talking about?
But yeah, this is overall just a fantastic knife. 154 cm, one that I have been carrying a lot lately. And just recently I did a pretty big upgrade to it, and this is my Benchmade Griptilian. I just threw some micarta scales that I got off of eBay, and these scales were $30. Wasn't entirely sure how they were going to turn out, being that, you know, they were only 30 bucks, but these are fantastic. I love these scales. I don't like the, I think they call it like a GFN material that they use on both the bug out and the Griptilian. I'm not a fan. It makes it feel like a toy, and for what you're paying, I feel like they probably could have used some better materials. That's just my thoughts on it. One thing I did notice is where the mounting holes for the pocket clip are, they're not threaded, so I need to find a way to add my pocket clip back onto this. Right now, this is a big knife. Now it's sitting in my 5th pocket of my pants. That's how I'm carrying it, and being that it's in the 5th pocket, I only have about this much of the knife sticking out of my pocket, which is pretty good for a 5th pocket. Just a fantastic upgrade, and one that I would recommend you make on any polymer / nylon scales on your knife. So I've been carrying this a lot lately, but one that I've been carrying just as much is this guy. This is probably my all-time favorite work knife, and this is the Kizer Drop Bear. Very similar, I would say, to the Griptilian. I would say probably more similar to the Bug Out. I don't have a Bug Out to compare it to, but I'm gonna say it's probably closer to the Bug Out. But the thing I like about this knife is this. But I love knives that run on bearings. That's why I love Kizer, that's why I love Civivi, Sencut, is because most of them run on bearings. But this one particularly has aluminum scales and a really nice purple accent with the thumb stud. It breaks up all of the black perfectly. And I've loved this knife so much. 154 cm blade, which is fine with me. It's been a great steel. I haven't had any issues with it. It's not the most premium steel, but it works. You know, you're gonna get a decent edge retention, decent corrosion resistance, which for me, I prefer my blades to be either coated or stonewashed anyway, so corrosion resistance isn't a big factor because you add that coating on and it puts an extra corrosion resistance on. I love the spear point blade shape. I found that that's probably my favorite blade shape, and if you can see, if it'll focus here, if I can get just the right angle on it, right here. There's a whole bunch of gunk on this knife that I haven't cleaned off yet because I just haven't gotten around to it. And that brings us to the newest knife, and the last knife I'm going to talk about now is one that I just got recently and that I have been carrying a lot lately. And this knife is this guy. This is the WE Knife Hyphen. The WE Knives Hyphen. It's one that I have had my eyes on ever since WE came out with it. I want to say about 6 or 7 months ago, earlier this year. And finally, I was able to get my hands on it. This is the flamed titanium handle scales with the stonewash blade. I really wish that they had the black blade, the black stonewash blade on this handle scale, but they don't. The only black bladed Hyphen is on the black stonewash titanium handles. And I really wanted this handle scale, so I said, you know what? I'll get it and I'll deal with it. And actually, I'm not mad about it anymore because I feel like it just goes together really well with the stonewash blade, the titanium flame anodized handles with all of the bronzed hardware accents. I don't know, it just goes together, and the action, really good. So it's not cheap by any means at all, and I know that. But this was also a anniversary gift from my wife, but also one that I beat up on. As you can see, I've only had it for about 2 weeks, and it's already showing a lot of snail trails on the titanium. On the scale here, not as much, but you know, on the pocket clip, right around here, you can see that it has some bumps already, which I don't mind. That's kind of why I got the stonewashed titanium, because I actually kind of prefer the worn-in titanium look over the brand new one. So for me, it was a no-brainer and one that I've absolutely loved. 20 CV steel on the blade, so one of the more higher-end premium steels. A nice deep hollow grind and a really defined tip here, which is perfect for piercing, like if you're opening packages or anything like that, which this does no problem. I've opened plenty of packages. This knife is absolutely fantastic and one of my favorites to carry. But let me know down in the comments what your guys' most carried knives are. I'm really interested to see what you guys are carrying and the things that you carry the most. I think out of just rating pocket time alone, the Drop Bear probably wins it for me as far as pocket time. The Hyphen is probably going to beat it out, but I just haven't had this one long enough to say that I've carried it the most. I've carried it the most lately, ever since I got it, but since I've got the drop bear, this has been my all-time, so far, most carried knife. So again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Let me know what your most carried knife is, and as always, leave a like on this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks for hanging out with me. And until next time, peace.